take the time to talk about the Liberal Democrat Party and the stronghold that it has had on the mentalities of people in America, particularly people of color, black people, Hispanics, and how they have been able to secure the loyalty of these groups for so many decades. It all centers around a myth that the parties switched after the signing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Before decades of dumbing down in America, secondary to the rise of illogical liberal ideology, it was common knowledge among Americans with a high school education that the Democrat Party was the party of slavery, Jim Crow, and segregation, while the Republican Party was the party of emancipation, integration, and civil rights. People understood that the Democrat Party dominated the South, while the Republican Party was dominant in the North, where there were free black Americans as far back as the Revolutionary War in 1776. In the 60s and 70s, white leaning liberal leftist intellectuals in academia began pushing myths about the Republican Party. Myth number one was that the Civil Rights Act of 1964, after that, the Republican Party had to recruit racists into the party because they could not win any elections in any states in the South. This became known as the Southern Strategy and is linked primarily to Republican President Richard Nixon in 1968. The fact is that the Republicans had success in the South well in advance of 1964. Herbert Hoover in 1928 won slave states. In 1952 and in 1956, Republican President Eisenhower won Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and Virginia and Florida, well in advance of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Nixon lost the Deep South in 1968 to his Democrat opponent. Democrats continued to control the South. Jimmy Carter won the South in 1972. Democrat Bill Clinton won the South in 1992. Democrats continued to politically control the South until 1993 when Republicans won a majority of congressional seats. 30 years after the signing of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Myth number two was that after the signing of the Civil Rights Act, the party switched. Racist Democrats became Republicans and Republicans became Democrats. The fact is, of the 21 congressional senators who opposed the Civil Rights Act, only one joined the Republican Party. The other 20 congressional Senate seats remained Democrat for another 2.5 decades or 25 years. The Democrat Party proclaimed to be the party of civil rights, yet and still the Republican Party voted for the Civil Rights Act in more numbers than Democrats. The foundational pillar of holding on to the mentalities of Hispanics and people of color centers around this party switch myth. Get it through your liberal mascot skulls. There was no party switch. That is a myth. That is boogeyman rhetoric that was used to push many black Americans out of the Republican Party and into the Democrat Party of slavery. The Democrat Party is the same party, only with racially constraining methods used to contain and control their slaves and keep them on the Democrat plantation. Get off the Democrat plantation. The party switch myth is a lie. The Democrat Party is still the party that hates and wants to destroy America. And just like they did during the days of the Confederacy, they have become the party tinged with Marxist, fascist, communist, and socialist agents who all share one common identity. They are leftist and subversive and have entrenched themselves here to transform American institutions from within and ultimately destroy the American way of life. This is a cultural and ideological revolution that is taking place in America. The conservative mindset is a weapon forged in this battle taking place between the conservative right and the radical illogical left. This fight against the radical illogical left is being led by number 47 in the MAGA movement. Conservative mindset is dedicated to helping fight against the destructive influences of liberal, radical, illogical leftist ideology. I'm your host, Dr. Alcindor. You can stay tuned.